What Iran's leaders really believe is unbelievable. Thanks for joining me. 15 minutes with me, Brian Sussman. 15 minutes of unedited stream of consciousness conversation. More on me at briansussman.com. When you hear what the people who run and lead Iran really believe, you will say, that's crazy. That's insanity. Well, I'll tell you what they really believe in just a moment. My information for this episode comes directly from a very good Persian friend of mine. He's from Kurdistan. Part of Kurdistan is in Iraq, part of Kurdistan is in Iran. He knows the people very well, but he's also a Muslim Sheikh, which means he's a Muslim scholar and a Muslim elder. Maybe I should say former Muslim Sheikh, because he no longer believes in the Islamic religion. He is a dedicated follower of Jesus, and he has become certainly one of the most prolific evangelists in Kurdistan. And I want to tell you that thousands and thousands of Muslims are coming to know Jesus as their Savior all over the world. And generally, like my friend, they meet Jesus in a dream or in a profound vision that literally just rocks their world and causes them to see things completely different. So I want to, in this episode, just to set up how crazy these leaders are. I want to discuss the religious beliefs of the Iranian leadership for two reasons. Because one, the left in America is completely clueless. They really think we can get along with these people. They don't understand that they're not going to get along. The Iranian people would never get along with these crazies on the left. They have absolutely no respect for them, nor do they have any respect for authentic followers of Jesus, nor do they have any respect for anyone who's Jewish, religious or not. Now, there's one exception to the left's ignorance in this country. You've got all these new DSA members, Democrat Socialists of America. They've come out. They're all wearing it on their shirt sleeves. Listen, the mayor of New York City, he sees the big picture. The Islamic congresswoman from Michigan and the other one from Minnesota, they see the big picture. They totally understand where the Iranian leadership is coming from. And they're okay with it because the ideology and the eschatology of the Iranian leadership spells, are you ready for this? The end of Israel, the end. And there's been such a great propaganda job done on the American people, especially those on the left, who believe that Israel does not have a right to exist. You see, these people have those ignorant leftists in their pocket because they want to see that annihilation. Now, as my friend explained to me, Islam has two distinct branches, and this is very important for you to understand. Sunni is one, Shia is the other. It's akin to Catholic versus Protestant. It's also of interest to note the Sunni branch originated with the Arabs and the Shia with the Persians, two distinct people groups. The Sunni and Shia Islam both have a common enemy. They both despise and seek to annihilate Israel. Both of these denominations also despise Jewish people at large and see them as subhuman and worthy of death. Now, interestingly, and again, to get the full picture, you need to know this hatred of Jews goes back all the way to the Bible. The Muslims have absolutely no objection to this story that I'm about to share. In the book of Genesis, we see that the father of the faith, the father of the Jewish faith, the father of the Christian faith, Abraham, has two sons. One is Isaac, the other is Ishmael. From Isaac comes the line of the Jewish people, from Ishmael, the Arab people. Again, Muslims have no dispute about that at all. The descendants of Isaac, the descendants of Ishmael, became bitter enemies. Also of importance is the fact that the Jewish line has always believed in the God of Abraham and the Ten Commandments and the religious observances that were brought forth by God in the Bible through Moses. And guess what? The Muslims the Muslims acknowledge that too. God used Moses to bring the Ten Commandments at about 1350 BC. That's how old the Jewish religion goes. 1350 BC. The Arabs did not have a formalized religion until the early 600s AD. You see, their religion was brought forth via Muhammad. He crafted a religion to compete with the Jews, and even the Christians for that matter. And eventually we get the Sunni version of Islam and the Shia version of Islam. And again, I'm going to explain the difference in just a moment. But both versions loathe Jewish people. Both versions believe any Muslim who converts to Christianity is worthy of death. Both versions believe the ultimate sign of devotion is dying in battle for their God, Allah. And both versions believe it's proper to lie when you're defending the faith. Now, here's the big reveal. Both the Sunnis and the Shias believe a person known as the Mahdi will eventually appear as the leader who will succeed in seeing the entire world converted to Islam. This is what they believe. Sunni and Shia. All Muslims believe this. And if you don't convert, you will suffer the consequences. They believe that as well. However, and this is the truly unbelievable part, the Shias, these are the Persians primarily, the Shias, this is Iran's leadership, believe the Mahdi was born in the 7th century AD. They believe he was born then. And they believe he's been hidden since then. And they believe he will be revealed very soon. They believe this. You can't argue with them on this. Don't say you're crazy. Don't say you're crazy. You can't believe that stuff. They'll slit your throat. They dearly believe this. They believe that the Mahdi has been hiding for the better part of 1,400 years and will be revealed very soon. And once he's revealed, the world will bow to its new leader. And the Shias are not shy about this. But wait, there's even more. Now, in order for the Mahdi to be revealed, the little Satan, Israel, and the great Satan, America, must be destroyed. The Persian people put a high price on education. They're very well educated. And I believe the people at large have a very high IQ. They have brilliant engineers. You know, Persian people, the ones who aren't zealots, some of the nicest people you will ever meet. So it's no surprise, for example, that Iran has nuclear power. They do. The media doesn't really make this clear. They have nuclear power. They have large facilities where they're enriching uranium. They've been conducting nuclear tests for years. They intend to make nuclear bombs like their friend Pakistan has. Why? As my friend stressed to me just 3 days ago, he said, you have nuclear bombs not for defensive purposes, but for offensive purposes. The Iranian leadership seeks nuclear weapons to destroy Israel and the United States so that the Mahdi will come forth. Friends, how do you deal with an enemy like that? How do you deal with that kind of zeal, that zealous behavior? It defies Western thought. How can we conceptualize this religious fervor? But there's another element of this religious fervor that can't be denied. And I got this from a dear friend who oversaw interrogations at Guantanamo Bay. If you're in a war with these people, and let's just say you destroy everyone in Iran, sans one, there's one person remaining. In their mind, they won. You didn't kill us all. We won. How do you deal with an enemy like that? Now, I'm going to get to Bible prophecy in just a moment. And I'll tell you where the United States stands in all of this. Oh, yes, it's in the Bible. Where the United States stands in end times prophecy is in the Bible. I'll get to that in just a moment. Pakistan, I mentioned them just a moment ago. They're the second largest predominantly Muslim country in the world, and the only Muslim country that possesses nuclear weapons. They have 160 nuclear warheads that lay in control of its military. And they're continuing to grow. They're continuing to grow their arsenal. Now, what if suddenly Iran gets cozy with Pakistan? They've got the nukes. They have them for offensive purposes, not defensive. You know, in Pakistan, there is sympathy. I just have to tell you this. There is sympathy towards many Islamic extremist groups in the region, including the Taliban, including Al-Qaeda. And the Taliban and Al-Qaeda and some of these other groups that are friendly with Pakistan have brought forth their intentions. They want to annihilate, absolutely annihilate Israel and then the United States. And by the way, the enemies have worked, this enemy has worked very hard with their propaganda campaign. Going back to 1945, when I've mentioned this before, the Arabs started a PR campaign to turn people in this country against Israel in 1945. They started spending $2 million a year in 1945. That's the equivalent of $37 million a year in today's money. And they've been doing it ever since. But you get these idiot foot soldiers on the left who don't understand that even they are in the crosshairs of this crazy religious zealotry. Okay, end times prophecy. My Persian friend reminded me of this passage from the first chapter of Ezekiel, Jewish scriptures, written in 580 BC. Okay, I always say there are no edits in these podcasts, but I just made an edit because I started reading biblical scripture and I thought, I'm getting way into the weeds on this. So let me just sum up what I wanted to read because I don't want to lose you on this. I know your time is precious. But again, my Persian friend reminded me of this passage from Ezekiel, and this was written at about 580 BC. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, set your face against Gog of the land of Magog, and say, this is what the sovereign Lord says, I am against you. And then there was a huge battle where Gog attacks the land of Israel. God's anger is revealed, and the Lord steps in, and suddenly we are at the end of the age. Okay, that's in the book of Ezekiel. Now, my friend wanted me to make it clear in this podcast. Gog and Magog, that's Turkey and Iran. The Bible is talking about Iran in the last days coming against Israel to destroy her. But the story is picked up 50 years later in another book in the Bible. And that is in the book of Zechariah. It's quite fascinating. A day is coming, Jerusalem, says Zechariah, when your possessions will be plundered and divided up within your very walls. I will gather all nations to Jerusalem to fight against it, and the city will be captured, the houses ransacked, and the women raped. And then the Lord appears. This is like Lord of the Rings, and it's the end of the age. And there is victory for God's people. But did you just hear what I said? I will gather all the nations to Jerusalem to fight against it. That means there's a time coming when even the United States will turn its back on Israel to annihilate it. Now, the good news is the Lord will step in, and we are suddenly at the end of the age, and we could be on the precipice of that right now, because if the Democrats were to win the White House, you've got a commander-in-chief who could easily turn his or her back on Israel to allow for its annihilation. My friends, how then shall we live, given that these are very interesting times? I say this: we need to preach the good news. We need to extend his kingdom. We need to pray for our leaders in Washington, D.C. to do the right thing. We need to pray against this leftist, socialist, communist surge in the United States and meditate on the words found in Psalm 122, verse 6 and 7 and 8, which says, "Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you be secure. May there be peace within your walls and security within your citadels. For the sake of my family and friends, I will say, peace be with you." Thanks for joining me. I'm Brian Sussman.